This is Gamer 1745 here with my continuing playthrough of Strategic Command World War I, the Ludendorff Offensive. And hello, Arno. I hope you are out there. Checking to make sure that we are live on the various services. It didn't work last Sunday, but it looks like it's working today. That is good. That is good. All right, so let's make an episode here. And I know I'm basically going to repeat myself. Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer 1745 here. We are playing the Ludendorff Offensive of Strategic Command World War I. I love the DLC. I think it's one of the best setups for Strategic Command that they've done. And we're going to see, well, whether this episode or this live stream or whatever, I'm not sure. We're going to see if we can end this. We're getting towards the end here anyways, but as in victory end this. Okay. Falling back faster than my artillery can keep up. We got 8 rounds, 1 target. Well, there we go. Move up and entrench. Yeah, I guess. So, we've hit them hard there. Right. That will allow this unit to move up to here and entrench. Keep from having to be counterattacked. Okay, they can only get up, they can't entrench. Well, Oh boy, found a lot more, but there we go. We'll reinforce these guys. Pushing hard. Pushing hard. Basically, well, they got these 3 guys left. That guy, yeah, they're done for up there. Wow. Okay, once they start collapsing, they start collapsing. Let's move you and you up. Get them usefully forward. Now, down here. Those Frenchmen are still fairly well dug in. Okay. Now let's... Okay, our line is pretty solidly dug in. That's good. Let's move you up and entrench. I know you're fairly weak, but now this stuff up here doesn't really matter. Not to the overall victory of taking Paris, except that it is drawing a lot of their forces away. So that is good. Yeah, over here. A lot of these are detachments, so they're fairly weak. Most of what we're doing now is obviously eliminating this pocket, which the big benefit will be the ability to move troops forward. Get to the road. Well, the mud here is really sort of slowing us up. Yeah, let's see. Pushing forward there. That pocket is good. Okay, I think this, New Dunkirk, though there's Dunkirk, up here, this can all be handled with itself. So these units here can come down this way, I think, just fine. Now, though I think we can move these guys down to here. They've fired. These guys have not. I don't think we need them up there so desperately. So, yeah, let's get them down here. Hey, Norbert, how you doing? Move our big railway gun down. Okay, we still have this town here. It's held by a detachment. We don't have any artillery immediately in range, but we do have reconnaissance bombers, so let's put up interceptors. We've got escorts. Not much happens because it's raining, I do believe, so. There we go. That will make this whole line here a lot less useful to them. Now here, okay. Northward. Okay, let's Hey, MNDB, how you doing? In there, but he can come to here. Okay, that is pressing on them. Not sure what to do about this artillery at the moment. Artillery with, like we can see up here, artillery without infantry is very bad in this game. And as you can see, we've got a couple of lovely artillery pieces, but no infantry to really back them up. So, well, because if we had them up here, we could crush through here a little better. Okay, so what we're going to do here is just move up and trench. Move up, trench. I know it's not exciting. Yep, we are very close to Paris. No, you're very right. I'm sure there are units that we can't see in Fog of War. Hey, Michael, how you doing? But so in theory, these guys could run down there, but I don't think that's a good idea. We may attack that British unit there. The tank, as you can see, is still very, very deadly. And we don't want to outrun our ability to supply. Ah, 10 days off of work. Good. Now we can come down here, see if there's anything we should be doing. We got this pocket here. Are we ready to push? I guess. A bit here. Maybe not from that side just yet, but we're pushing on them. Okay, that just hurt me, but I was hoping it would unentrench them a little bit for later attack to kill them off. Good. There we go. That worked. One less unit. One less unit. You going to be doing anything fun, Michael, on your 10 days off, or just relaxing and watching YouTube streams? Not that that isn't fun, but it's not particularly great. Have you bothered with the latest Toy 4 expansion of Toy 4 not reaching viewer figures? Well, No, I've not bothered with the latest Hoi 4 expansion. I'm sort of burnt out on Hoi 4. Um, I know they're getting a lot of viewership right now. Frederick Wesser, the head of the corporation there, tweeted out some of their figures. I I guess I just don't. Uh, what I really want to play next is Hoi 3, but I want to play my modded version of a relatively recent. I don't know if the latest version of Black Ice or not. I haven't been paying attention in over a year, so I just don't have the time to mod things. I've tried to enlist particularly one person, but he got a little busy. Um, in working under my direction to do a lot of the grunt work. I know it's grunt work. I know it's not very fun work to do. I know I'm not paying anything to do it, so it's just for the love of the game. So I'm just sort of taking a break from it, from Hoi 4 and Hoi 3 for the two reasons. I really don't like the way Paradox has been handling national focuses and going a lot of fantasy stuff. It seems too much of a fantasy game, and I forget which was the last mod that I was playing that I sort of liked. Just don't remember the name right now. I don't know. It just I'm just going through so I'm up in my secret mountain base. I get to go shoot. I'm going to go shooting later today after the stream, but I've got to start packing up to head back to California because I still got to finish moving out of there. So it's just time, and this is just easy to play for you guys. Well, Christmas market Tuesday. Okay, gaming, both PC and board gaming. Visiting my mom. Oh, okay. Oh, sorry, she had to have an operation. Oh, she's getting better. Okay, well, good, good. Now we want to move him to here because that way he'll be able to shoot at this one, and this one. And that one's going to fall anyways. So we want to get the artillery up there. In 10 minutes because I joined late. Okay, Norbert. Well, you could skip some of it and get up to current time if you wish, but whatever you wish is fine. He's not done yet, so he's gonna come up here and attack. So I don't think he's dug in either, so we're pushing on him. Okay, the artillery really could be used somewhere else. But we have this piece here with 6 rounds. We're going to try to collapse the flank here. Shot. Well, okay. That will allow this unit to move into here. We could attack, but what I think we will do is entrench. I know I have this big, heavy fascination with entrenching. These guys will move up to those entrenchments. But what I am trying to do is clear the road and hold the road for future advances. I don't think they'll move these units off of these positions to come up and attack here. I think they'll hold there. They may either deploy units here or move units here from other locations, but it'll take a bit. Now, next turn, I'm hoping these two artillery pieces here will have a lot of rounds and crush the tanks. That's the hope. May not be the reality, but that's the hope. Okay, these guys are all moving west. I don't really want to move up to contact. Oh, well, he could move, but that'll take all of his movement. Yeah. Okay, we will. Move him to here. You can come to here. You, since you're all rail lines, you guys can come up. Yeah, here will help us hit that town because that will help. I mean, we already have this rail link here, true, but it would be nice to have that additional rail link. And the tanks are sitting right there, I believe. Yeah, so that will give us a clear spearhead down to Paris. Another one coming up through here. Now, yes, we can, in theory, run supplies through here and push to Paris. Now you can see that would be from this angle a single rail line, though it would cut these guys off and take a while. But we really don't need to take down here with these forces. We need to hold them. So we really need to crush this. And this will crumble here very quickly, and that will give us a good. So we'll be coming from the north and coming from the east, pushing on Paris very soon. These guys are down here just grabbing up territory. Yeah. I think they're entrenched. Good. They're entrenched, so that can hold there. These guys entrenched, yes. So no, they can't move anywhere else. Here's another question regarding the Principality of Marseille during World War II. Was it left neutral due to? So I think you mean the Principality of Monaco. I'm guessing due to its financial power. I am aware that Prince Rainier, Rainier, apologized for mistreatment of peoples. It has probably been 20 or 30 years since I've seen it. There was a sort of docudrama kind of thing dealing with Monaco during the German occupation. And yes, the Germans, I do believe, occupied down there. Yeah, I figured. So there was some sort of occupation. I don't really remember what in any detail. Now you have to realize that, if you will, early on, or the first half of the war, it's Vichy France. Well, early on, or whatever, because it isn't, that's controlling down there. You don't get the Germans showing up until well enough into 42 that they're, and I don't remember the dates. It's one of the greatest failings of being uh, a historian and not remembering numbers well. Um, you know, Hitler only occupies Vichy France. I mean, it still stays operational. And there, oh, and also when you think of, do remember, people, when you think of Vichy France, you often think of, if we're looking at, Hearts of Iron or whatever, a territory called Vichy France that is a sort of a puppet state, and then the German occupied areas. Well, Vichy France still administered the rest of France, okay? It just, there was unoccupied France and occupied France. But, like, I'm just going to say something like the postal system, the capital down in Vichy was still the French national postal system. So, and the police, the police, the French police were still operating around in occupied territories. So there's Vichy France. There's Germany reclaiming the lost lands, over in here, the lost lands from World War One. So that's going back to German territory. So there's France that's being administered by Vichy France, but there's occupied and unoccupied parts of Vichy. So that, so we sort of draw up this something of a overly artificial elements when we're sort of wargaming it out. And so, yeah, so down in, and I don't know, Monaco, I don't know why I keep wanting to say Monaco, but Monaco, really wasn't that important at the time. It really wasn't. It's sort of like San Marcos or San Marco or whatever in Italy, which is sort of a commune, or what is it, Andoria, that's on the Franco-Spanish border. It's just one of these little principalities that did cling on. It doesn't get its sort of big financial status, I think, really until post World War II. That it gets, and then it gets sort of famous also with the, I'm picturing her from To Catch a Thief, the actress who marries Prince Rainier, that really gets it famous. Where a lot of people don't really know about Liechtenstein or whatever, but they know about Monaco. Now Monaco, of course, is on the Mediterranean, so it's pretty cool there. So I don't, and so it isn't until Germany occupies the rest of France after the torch landings that the Germans really show up there. I don't think it has any effect on anything. I don't particularly remember any great thing going on down there. Anything of significance. At least that's how I'm remembering it. Grace Kelly, thank you. Yes, thank you, Michael Fox. Yes, yeah. Those of you who've been around, for some reason, I don't know. I blank on proper names. Do I remember her very well from To Catch a Thief with Cary Grant, set down in Monaco. That's where she meets her future husband. Okay, so let's get this really great tool and look for units that I can reinforce to get up to full operating strength or better operating strength. Those guys are all moving, so they're not accepting reinforcements, or they've attacked and they don't have time to do reinforcements this turn. Where the trains can catch up and they haven't been too busy. I'm not going to over reinforce him, I don't think. The neutrals in World War II are an interesting topic. Years ago, I still have it, a book specifically about the neutrals, dealing with Sweden, Switzerland, Portugal, and Turkey. And each of them play a did they also cover Spain? I guess they also covered Spain. It's been a long time since I read the book. They all serve differing functions. The Germans allow air travel in and out of Switzerland, and I'm blanking on whether it came directly from Britain or if it had to fly via also Ireland too, via Ireland to go in and out of Switzerland, and Spain was able to fly through Switzerland, and so they had scheduled flights with neutral marked aircraft that were going back and forth. So there was a lot of spy activity and other stuff. There was, I believe, air freight out, a lot of high-end timing devices out, like watches and whatnot, that were very military useful, coming out of Switzerland and going to the Allies that Germany let happen. There was several ships running in and out of Italy, over in forgetting which port it was, but down near Milan, down there, that would come into Italian ports and basically offload it at special docks that would immediately get loaded onto ships, or not ships, onto trains that would then go head up into Switzerland and bring in food or whatever, as well as shipping stuff out. And these ships would then go through the Mediterranean unmolested, or mostly so. Sweden allowed some troop transports across it at a few times, and very much primarily sending resources down to Germany, but also, as in iron ore, or processed into steel, as well. But also, I believe, a certain amount of food extra over Sweden's basic production need or consumption needs was going to Germany. So they were all sort of, but then there was a lot of British spy activity, that particularly getting the information on the V weapons coming out of Sweden. So those really much more have an effect of one sort or another on the war. Huge numbers of Germans, some specifically as dual citizens, but not always dual citizens. But lots of Germans moved into Switzerland, and there are really two parallel German communities going on in Switzerland. One, as you might sort of think, yes, being anti-Nazi type Germans that get out. But then there's also probably a larger, but I don't know if we have good stats on it, pro-Nazi German And we're not talking about the Swiss Germans. We're talking about German nationals, either dual citizenship or full German or only German citizenship. Getting out of Germany, but getting into Switzerland. The pro-Nazi people very much to avoid the war, not so much as like draft dodgers, but more family, women, children, older people that just had the means to, get out of Germany and buy or rent a place or whatever in Switzerland and economically fund it. So a lot of that going on. Okay, so speaking about spies, how effective or useful was the spy network for the Axis powers? That'd be an interesting question. I would say it was, on the whole, counterproductive. I think because the famous one is Garbo. He was that was just a code name for him. I think the British code name for him, but as opposed to the German, both sides had a different code name for this guy. He was, oh boy, I think Spanish, but either Spanish or Portuguese. And he was down in there feeding information to Germany about Britain. And the Germans were like, oh, great, this is great, this is great. Hey, ZZ. And it was all a bunch of fiction. He was claiming to be running a spy network. Really what he was doing was like opening up magazines and newspapers and making shit up based on that. He would say things like, oh, well, the British government for summer has retreated to somewhere else in England away from London because it's so hot. Well, that's the kind of thing that happens like in Spain and Madrid. Gets hot, in the pre-air conditioned age. The government might move to some, higher elevation area, not necessarily, well, I don't know, because there are plateaus in Spain and whatnot, so I don't know if it would be, a mountainous area or just simply higher elevation, and move there for the hottest 2 or 3 months of the year or something. So he was feeding all this stuff to the Germans. The British get in on what's going on somehow. I don't know if through leaks from Germany or just locally they get it. And they invite him to come to Britain. And I don't know if there was an explicit threat, but definitely an implicit threat that if you don't take our invitation, things won't go well for you. And it wouldn't even have to be the British assassinating him. It could just be the British somehow leaking information to the Germans and let the Germans do it. And so he goes to London, which actually helps his credibility with the Germans, because the Germans now know that instead of sort of running and it was a for-profit spy network. It wasn't like, hey, I love swastikas, let me feed you this information. It was, hey, I got this thing, got these tips or this information, want to give me some money, kind of thing. So the Germans keep feeding him money, but he's in Britain now, and Britain is telling Garbo what they want the Germans to know. And the Germans do note that the information gets better. And Britain is giving them real information. Stuff that not that maybe they always know the Germans already have, or not that it's always inconsequential, but it's not that big a deal. And it's maybe just a little bit more details here and there. And that way, I'm sure it helps Germany a bit, but where it really hurts is when they want to feed true disinformation to the point of even burning the source, that they're using it, that they're willing to do it, it makes it great. And so Garbo is the one that sends out the information that the D-Day landings were just the diversion. The real ones are going to come very soon at Calais. That not that the D-Day wasn't a real landing. It was like a secondary early get Germany to shift forces off of position, and then they're going to come, Calais or wherever, so up where we're looking right now, in here. And that's worth however much real information that Garbo was feeding. And it's also really good if you can, even if you're giving the Germans stuff they already know, it just, from the German perspective, it's confirming other sources. So like if you say, oh, hey, yeah, production is down, blah, 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 with whatever, but the Germans already sort of know that they bombed some, factory or something like that, you're just giving them confirmation. And so now that they're more sure that their other sources are real, to my knowledge, most, if not all, of the German spies sent into Britain, mostly via Ireland, all get captured or killed, and most of them that are captured end up working for the British. Now, as much as maybe, with a gun to the head as anything else, but they're feeding, again, mostly real information with a little bit of disinformation. So, now they got spies running around Turkey. They've got spies running around, Germany does. Spies run, and so do the Allies. Spies running around Spain and around Portugal that aren't being, turned or whatever by the British. But how useful is that? So you have, I'm sure that there were a bunch of people, both Italians and Germans, with high-powered optics that are watching Gibraltar, noting like every airplane that's landing in Gibraltar, every ship coming and going, military or, cargo or whatever. And they're feeding all of that information back to Germany. So I'm sure that's useful. How useful? I don't know, but I think, yeah, I'm sitting here thinking, Germany does a lot of reconnaissance. It has special reconnaissance squadrons that are, aircraft that they're scrubbing of. Yeah, they may be identifiable as German aircraft, but they're scrubbing markings. They're scrubbing, or German-made aircraft, maybe I should say, scrubbing markings. The pilots have no badges or dog tags or anything like that on them, and they're flying over the Soviet Union before the invasion, and as well as other countries. So they've got a lot of reconnaissance and a lot of signal intercept, intelligence gathering, not just trying to decode or listen to other messages, but just simply, and this is what the Allies, of course, take advantage of with Patton, and again, going back to Garbo, the whatever army that Patton was supposedly operating here, sending messages around Germany, sitting over here listening and seeing a level of message traffic that would show, an army training and getting ready to go into the continent. But so they're getting a decent picture, I would say, of the forces around them. But I'm going to say one or two, because then we can look at, I think it's Operation Pastorius or whatever, that sends the saboteurs to America that basically all get caught by the FBI. One of them turns themselves in and gets. They already sort of kind of knew that they had landed, but one of them turns themselves in and helps catch the rest. Um, what I'm going to say is either German spy activity was entirely counterproductive, meaning all the energy and effort put into it actually hurt Britain. I mean, not Britain, hurt Germany, or I am just very ignorant, and maybe even the West is too, because again, they burned lots of files and documents that I just don't know of. And again, maybe whether the West or, when I say that, meaning primarily the British or German government, I mean, not British, German, British or American governments, maybe know a bunch of stuff that just hasn't been declassified. But either I'm ignorant of it, or that, so it was either very bad or I'm just so ignorant of the successes, things that because maybe they had a bunch of spies sitting around Britain that were successful and I just don't know about them. So either I'm ignorant about their successes or Germany just utterly fails on their sort of spy networks. At least that's how I figured. Good, you're caught up, Norbert. Also, spook stuff is largely useless for Axis on the Soviet side of things. Yeah, there are spies over there. I don't know the stories well enough. And I'm going to disagree with you, largely useless on the Soviet side of things, MMDB. Again, I know I'm sort of talking out of my ass here and that I don't have solid facts, but you got to remember there is a lot of German contact with the Soviet Union prior to Hitler coming into power. There's the first season was really good. The second or whatever season, sort of I think there's going to be a third or whatever. The Babylon Berlin, and they in their show talk about prior to the Nazis coming to power, the sort of tank training, proving ground, testing ground that was set up in the Soviet Union, as well as a certain amount of commercial trains going back and forth. Now, some of that sort of shuts down with the Nazis coming to power. Some of it sort of continues with the Nazis coming to power, or still continues. And it really, really blossoms with the Ribbentrop-Molotov Pact. So you get from there, from, what is it, September 39 until, again, I'm not good on dates. What is it, June 41 or whatever, when the Germans attacked the Soviet Union. There is, like, for a couple of years there, 40, into early 41, there are commercial agreements being um, set up with the Soviet Union. They establish, or more, maybe more, or establish a reestablishment flights between Berlin and scheduled commercial airline flights between Berlin and Moscow. Now I don't know that they're like 3 times daily flights, but maybe 3 times a week kind of flights or something like that are scheduled and regular routine type commercial flights going back and forth between National Socialist Germany and the Soviet Union. And I want to say that, and most of it, not saying zero, but most of it is not tourist flights. Like people weren't like, oh, I want to go visit Moscow and see the museums or something, or a lot of Soviet citizens were wanting to come to Berlin and see the big sports plats or whatever the hell. So these are diplomats and businessmen that are going back and forth. Arranging. Uh, the Soviets get during this time period, and I know Michael Fox has been around a lot to know that talked a lot about some of this stuff. But you know, during this period, the Ribbentrop-Molotov Pact, Germany sells a steel rolling mill. If you know what that is, it's because when you pour out steel and you get sort of kind of you know it's when it's still malleable, not necessarily like glowing red hot, but it could be, um, but it's still sort of malleable. That the Soviets tell the Germans or ask the Germans, we don't have a big steel rolling mill to build battleships, to build thick enough armor. We want to buy one of these things from you. And the Soviet Union is incapable at this point of making this steel rolling mill on its own. So Germany sells a steel rolling mill to the Soviets, one or more. I don't know the details right offhand. That can roll out thicker armor plates than what it currently can do. Because if you notice, all of the T-26 tanks, the BT series tanks, the like T-35, the big, smallish but land ship type tanks, they've all got fairly thin armor. Now, part of that is the BT series doctrine-wise is meant, it's coming out of Christie, so it's meant to be fast, fast, fast. Yeah, the T-26, okay, it's an infantry tank. Maybe it's supposed to be sort of light, but you can look at the French equivalent of the T-26, the R-35 and the H-35, the copies of the, or modernized versions of the old FT-17. They have fairly thick, now mostly cast armor, but fairly thick armor for their size, and the big sort of, I think it's the T-28 or whatever, the fairly largest number, multi-turret, and then the T-35 is maybe the big giant one. Sorry, I forget some of these numbers. It's easier to remember Panther and Tiger, but all of that is fairly thin armored. Well, the Germans, in essence, sell the means so that the Soviets can make T-34s and KV tanks, because they do not have the steel rolling ability to make those heavy tanks. The Germans are in the headspace, well, who cares if the Soviets build some battleships? We've got submarines and aircraft, we'll just sink them. But really what the Soviets are willing to do is build heavier tanks. So the Germans are, and there's a lot of people going back and forth, set these things up, set up the agreements, set up the location. I'm pretty damn sure. I don't know all the details, so I am sort of talking out of my ass. I don't think it's just like, oh, they get train cars with all the big components and an IKEA assembly instructions, and the Soviets just go set it up. I'm pretty sure that there are at least some consultants going there and helping set up the steel rolling mill. Now, it may not be a huge number of people, but I'm not saying it's like a bunch of German workers building the factory. In fact, I don't think it's that. The Germans also sell the Soviets at this time and also give them machine tooling to do it, the PaK-36 anti-tank gun. The Soviets used the same anti-tank gun, except there's one significant difference is the Soviets upscale it from 37 millimeters to 45 millimeters. And it's not exactly parts compatible, but it's based off the same design, and the Germans are setting it up. And I don't know if it was BMW or Zundap, but one of the main motorcycle models that Germany is using for its military. They also set up a factory for that in the Soviet Union. So the main Soviet motorcycles are virtually the same as the German ones. So Germany is setting up these industries in the Soviet Union, 39 through 41. And so there's lots of Germans running around the Soviet Union, talking to lots of Soviet citizens. There's a bunch of Soviets coming to negotiate, like showing up. Let's just presume it's BMW motorcycles, showing up at BMW. Hey, we've been told that you're going to help us, give us a factory production line. And the BMW people, yeah, we got the message yesterday or whatever the hell. And so, they're like, okay, what are you going to send us, and how's it going to be packed, and when is it showing up? So I'm sure there's got to be a bunch of Soviets showing up and talking to BMW. Now a bunch, maybe just like 3 or 4 or 5 or whatever. It's not like hundreds, I don't think. And so there's all these people going back and forth. And so any of them can be spies, or many of them probably are spies. And that may be their secondary thing. Now, of course, the guys showing up, whether they're in business suits or workers' suits or party commissar suits or something, or whatever, showing up at the BMW factory, they're openly there as Soviets. And I'm sure they're like trying to take in all the information they can about, oh, how many motorcycles do you make a day? We're just asking so that we can better figure out what we need to do. But they're, I'm sure getting information about German production. And so how many of those people get bribed, get blackmailed on both sides? Germans going east and somehow get blackmailed or bribed into giving information to the Soviets, and how many of them go back and say, hey, they're threatening me with this, and the Abwehr or whoever's going, good, here, tell them these things, memorize this and tell them this, so I suspect there's a lot more that we commonly, and I'll get back to the chat here in a minute, we commonly don't know, just because the Germans didn't want to tell us after the war, because they burnt a lot of things. Oh, and I know there's paperclip, as well as other operations that particularly I think it's mainly the Americans, but I think also the British, are realizing that there's a bunch of Germans that are sort of Soviet experts at, dealing with spies and whatnot in the East, that run, that they rely upon as a spy, having spy networks into the Soviet Union, that were spy networks that continued through the, World War, and into the post-World War, and still sort of maintained that. So, and so I'm not saying the governments don't know, but I still think a lot of that may be classified still, or just hasn't made it into books that I've read or heard about. But there was a lot of stuff going on. It wasn't quite as stark as we sort of kind of think with the Iron Curtain between the two of them, and how much at different phases hatred and vitriol thrown between the various governments, and both nations contribute heavily to their doom, because although the Soviet Union does survive the war, it is crippled by the war, and had they not signed the Ribbentrop-Molotov Pact, they might, well, I'm not saying they wouldn't have gone to World War II, but they could have propped up Poland enough that Germany doesn't attack in 39. They might have attacked in 40 or 41 eventually, but it would have been a much different situation. And of course, Germany, like I say, particularly I do point to the steel rolling mills, um, as well as other factories set up that really keep the Soviets operating, that they would have been severely crippled without. So let's see what Norbert says. German-Soviet military and economical cooperation became very intensive after World War One. Yeah, I mean, they were both blacklisted nations, so they were sort of pushed together that way. It slowed down a bit in the 30s, but never stopped. Yes. Yeah, and it does, like I say, it does continue after the Nazis come to power, but it's at like much lower. And of course, yeah, after Hitler-Stalin pact, peak more economical side. Yes, then there's the SMK, but the SMK, I believe, is because it's based off of the KV series tank. So that's a later, that's a, that's built, that's that's built in this time period that I'm talking about, post 39. I'm pretty sure it's built in like either late 40 or early 41, when they're getting that big thing. Oh yeah, German set up aircraft. Now I think MMDB. Now, I don't know. And I'm not sure exactly what you're talking about, aircraft factories. I do know that they're doing aircraft testing in the Soviet Union during the the interwar period, whatnot. Oh, and there's like also another agreement as part of the Ribbentrop-Molotov Pact that Germany was going to get a covert naval base up, up in the Arctic Ocean near Murmansk, some little base up there. But either that doesn't come through, or is barely used up until, because Germany ends up getting Norway, so it's no longer that big of a deal. It was meant to be sort of like a submarine resupply and covert ship operations, whether blockade runners or Q ship type operations out of there. Not so much to like supply a big German fleet or big German even single vessel, just because that would maybe too public. It was more meant to be a private, uh, covert basing situation that was set up. So they were doing a lot of stuff going on there, and so to set up these bases and to move around, there's a lot of obviously everybody moving around openly, whether in uniform or whatnot, but with passes saying German visitor or Soviet visitor or whatever the hell. They're all taking notes, but there's a lot of opportunities for spies. Lots of opportunities. Junkers was one of the later, became the Tupolev Gulag is one example. Okay, yeah, I just don't know. Yeah, guys, there's a World War II, just World War II. That's a big subject to know all about. One Ox cruiser was moved by northern route from Germany into the Pacific with the Soviet support. Ah, yes, yes, and I do remember during like one summer that it was passable enough to get through there, and I don't remember the details, but yes. So there's a lot of that going on, and that, of course, and this is what I say. There's every embassy that's out there in the world is a spy station. Okay, people. Now some of them have a person who has a quote unquote day job, let's say, person who's responsible for agricultural trade between your nation and whatever other nation, may sort of have a secondary job as actually being a CIA person trained in Langley. He just has two jobs, one open and one covert, but they all have military attaches, and I collect images for possible event uses or other things. But I think it was the 1940 or 41, I forget which one it was, 40 or 41 I think it was the Louisiana maneuvers in America, and they're standing. There's like three officers. I forget who the third one is. There's like a Japanese officer, a German officer, and somebody else there in uniform, standing there, sort of watching the maneuvers, and they're invited there. It's not like they snuck there or whatever. They're invited there, and they're watching the maneuvers. And then there's like the agricultural trade attaché. He's also getting agricultural information. It could just help a nation in its trading with another nation, but in World War II kind of context, it could how much imported food does Britain need? And they're collecting all that information somewhat openly around the country, and so that's all getting intelligence. Throughout the war, from the beginning to the end, Germany had an embassy in Dublin that was openly functioning with German, diplomats there through the whole time, and they're, I'm sure, furiously buying every single publication out it because all that stuff does end up one way or another, or they send people across, up to Northern Ireland or whatever, to buy any sort of publication, newspapers, magazines, whatever. And up until things become classified like government budgets or whatever, they're getting copies of any of that stuff that's being printed, and they're just consuming all of this information and sending it back to their country. Now, those spies know, because spy is presumed to be covert. These are overt observers. But they also do, like the CIA guy or whatever, very well might be running spies. But not that the spies necessarily show up at the embassy, and turn over their notebooks or photographs or whatever, but they meet them in other places. So these are going on, and Germany has them in places like Mexico until Mexico declares war on Germany, and other places around, like Cuba. They have various embassies that are existing, and are gathering information. That, to the best of my knowledge, is working reasonably fine as far as it goes. It's that sort of covert spies that they're trying to send into America or trying to send into Britain that just go horrendously bad. In that they end up hurting Germany overall, not just the spies that get captured and the wasted effort of training and delivering the spies, but they're actually sending back disinformation that the British want the Germans to have, more so than they're helping at all. So it probably would have been better for Germany to just entirely ignore the the spy situation. Just go with, hey, whatever you're finding openly, or when you send reconnaissance airplanes over, what you can observe. So that's that. At least that's my estimation on it. Okay. Well, I think we are ready to let the enemy to have their turn. Oh no, I want to check. Is there? Yeah, no replacement units need, or could be done. I'll just make sure. Germany armored warfare develops. Great. Ouch. Uh-oh. They pushed deep into us for some reason. I don't know why. Whether they thought they were going after that artillery piece or something else. Hmm. Okay. Another cavalry division. I think down here we have a larger open front. These would be more useful. So, yeah, let's drop you down there. Okay. Well, they just hurt my cavalry there, but let's get back. Let's assault that. Now let's put these guys up. Well, take out. You can move in and occupy. You okay? I would prefer not to lose you, so we will send you to the rear. Okay, so again, we're pushing here. All these generals had better flee. They're gonna lose their staffs. Yeah, okay. And this is their last ground fighting unit, at least that I see. There may be something up there, but not be stupid and rush right in. These guys in the trench. Not that it's that important, but we'll just do so to okay. We're going to move you. That here will be fine. Yeah, we got twilight movement to do. Okay, so we're closing this down. They may have a division or something there, but probably not much. So that's looking pretty good. Now here, we've got 5 shells now. Yep, let's send all 5. Okay, let's, before I move, and these guys, they can't. Well, let's get them up to the front then. Or they might do it. Here, we're going to bomb. Interceptors, fine. We got escorts, good. That's what I wanted to see. So that wouldn't be a surprise to me when I moved in there. So they can move in and now entrench. See how that works. So we've taken there. Is that lot Treeport? Okay, don't know it. But we're moving along the coast there, pushing pressure. Now they've pushed right deep into here. What we can do is come from the rear and strike at them. Right, so that division is now gone. They have 4 points. They can come in and entrench. So now we have a solid line from that direction. Now we are looking from over here. See what happens when you don't entrench and you just push deep into the field here. The supply line. Okay, so now we have hit them pretty hard. They have 7 shells. We'll see. I don't know if anything's close enough that we really want to attack this turn there, but we have all of this artillery here now. Yeah, let's just pound these tanks. You can see down here in the bottom, they're now at 55% readiness and 34% morale. 52 and 28. Now we're actually starting to do serious damage to their fighting capability. And now we've turned the tables on them. And we've destroyed them. See how well that went. Now up here, they got 10 rounds, so let's put a few onto this unit here. There we go. Now these guys did not attack, so they can move up and entrench. Okay, so now they're entrenched. These guys are not entrenched. Do we attack here? Yeah, it looks like it. Right. Okay, they can move up here and entrench. Right, so we've got that all set up here. Well, I know he's not entrenched, but we're moving up. I guess I'm going to risk not entrenching. He may get attacked, but... okay, so we are closing in on Paris. I'll move down the road to cross that river a little better. Yeah. Keep everything advancing. Okay, so we've advanced there, now here. Okay. 6 rounds, 8 rounds. Okay, let's push from the north first with recon bombers. These should be a bit more effective with the bombing and the whatnot because lack of rain. Yep, so we actually had there. Okay. Yeah, they're basically done. Move out of the way. These guys can move in. Entrench. Down here is our town. Hello, folk. Okay. Four rounds only. I don't know that we want to shoot with those 4. I think we're going to shoot that way. So, what unit is that with the Red Cross insignia? Oh, here. This is Portugal. Portugal did join the Allies in World War I. So that's representing a Portuguese unit. I think most of the Belgians are gone. They might still, but without any territory. Don't know if we have any Belgians, but yeah. The other thing that I don't see here, and especially by 1918, I don't know what would be going on. There was like a corps or so, multiple divisions of Russians that were sent to France to fight on the Western Front. But I haven't seen them here, and by 1918, with the Russian Revolution, I don't know what quite they would be doing at this point. Okay, so let's move up. Start with you. This is just a detachment. Oh, this is a division. Okay. They've already attacked. They've attacked. So let's fall back. Take this unit out. What? Not entrenching, I know, but we are. Okay, 2 rounds, 3 rounds. They've got a strike. They don't. 1 strike. So let's fire. Let's push here. They can move up and entrench. No, they can't. Oh, here, these guys can, yes. Okay, 3 sides, rotate it around. I'll risk it. There we go. So they're crumbling over here. Still have a lot here, but I don't know that it's going to keep me from advancing, especially because we're also coming here towards Paris. Yeah, let's. Yep. Boom. Okay, so. Oh shit, I didn't mean to do that. Okay, well. They say that was a misclick. But we will follow up. There we go. I can't quite get there. Well, They're going to come down here and entrench. Yes, it just feels almost too easy now. Just a little too easy. Okay, we'll come in here, but we've got it entrenched, of course. Right, well, we are making, like I say, great headway, seemingly too easy. Let's move you up. These guys can creep a bit forward, so they did operate, or some of them did. Okay, what to do with that piece? Where to send it? I think up there. So let's just see where we can deposit it. Right. We got 4 there. Got 2 there. 1 down here. Yeah, maybe here would be good. Okay. These guys haven't moved up in a while. They've got too used to their headquarters location. Seven shells. Yeah, let's fire 3 of them. Yeah, I knew I would get defensive artillery, but you see this wave coming in. I want to be ready to really push with it once it gets up there. So let's go back to this toy, see if we can. Well, okay, over reinforcements. We have so many points, it's worth doing, I guess, now. But often the expense of over reinforcements is, at least in my opinion, not always worth it. Or especially frontline units where artillery, it's Because normally you get those over reinforcements and they are gone the first time you attack with them. Okay, you can. Oh, we did not do any pushing here. Okay, now I just reinforced them. Back to them. Here we go. Trench. No need to move in. I don't think there. Just we'll let that continue to be. This will reinforce those. Better. Get another tank for it. Very nice, because I don't think we lost one. Okay, well, mud up in the north, I see. Yep, like I was thinking a lot around that town. Okay, they think they've liberated a town. Briefly, maybe, but we're going to take Paris. Right. Okay. There we go. They're going to move up and entrench. Which is fun, because we're going to move you up and attack there. These guys and these guys are just getting onto the railways so we can move them. Where do we want him? Yeah, down here. Because they pushed in here, cutting off all of these forces, at least temporarily. Okay, so good. I'm ignoring these guys because I'm going to move them further forward for attacks. More towards Paris. They have fallen back. Now down here, though. Let's see. Let's think about this a bit. Okay, these guys can entrench. Minor setback down here this week, but down here. Print. Print. Now we have artillery up here to pound on those 2 American units at least. Next turn. These guys. Yeah. Right. Yeah, good. Saw those back there. Good. These guys entrenched. No, let's entrench them. Here we go. Wow, yeah, things are just crumbling. Okay, these guys, well, looks like we can get to the outskirts of here to here. Great. All right. I know I'm saying that a lot. Well, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait to build up a few more shells. We don't need to push here right now with that. Oh, we should have moved these guys up long ago, but better late than never. And move these guys here. The reason I moved these three up is this unit gets one attack. Might as well push as much forward because they're only going to do damage to one unit. Okay, so those guys are watching the big pocket there. They've evacuated some of the forces from here. You still have that to deal with, so mostly just to push all these Americans out here. Okay, entrench. No, they can't. They guess we have that bad supply coming through here. Okay, the Austrians got a little more territory there. Uh-oh, enemy contact. Damn. Okay. We will swap these out and entrench these guys. There we go. Maybe a good idea to encircle that American corps rather than fight them. Yeah, that is probably a good idea. Now the real question is, do I have the troops to do it out here? Yeah, if this falls, yeah, we got these nice 5 units here, and whatnot. But I'm just sort of glad that they're out here, quite honestly, because they would be much, much more useful, defending like the southern road into Paris here. So yeah, whatever happens, I'm not sure with them, but it's overall it's a good thing. Move back here to keep this corridor sort of kind of open. Okay, so I think they can stay there. These guys can dig in. Back down more towards the road. And dig in. Why not? They got nothing else to do this weekend. Troops like to dig, don't they? Always asking to dig more. Okay, let's Nothing needs upgrading, which isn't terrible. Means I've been doing my job as I've been playing along. Okay, a little out of supply. Yeah. This is not bringing enough supplies forward. Yay, anti-aircraft doing something. Oh, shit. Good thing we entrenched. Just what we didn't need, rain. We lost the reserve division. Okay, we'll get that replaced. Right, okay. Now we're up to here, so now let's look at our supply situation. Oh, well, it's worse than I thought. Okay. Coming down this road here. These guys just might wither and die. There we go. We got our town back. Open up supply to all this area here. Rain feels like it always hits bad times. Yeah. I mean, is there a good time for rain? Okay. Now up here we got mud. Let's see if I could reinforce these up, at least up to 7, I guess. Nah. Well, looks like we can do it this turn. No, maybe not. They've attacked. They've attacked. They've all attacked. Damn, that's what I hate about this, is that they'll be able to come back to full readiness. Well, or to full strength, maybe not full readiness, but yeah. Okay. Entrench. Open entrench. There we go. And entrench. Entrench. There we go. Now here. There we go. Yeah, I guess. Okay, this is just looking like almost a blurry amount of traffic problems here. Not really that bad, but what do I sort out here? They can entrench. They move up, they'll just be attacked. So we'll entrench them for the moment. Attack from the side where the enemy is not entrenched. Yes, that is definitely options at times. Now over here. There's somebody in the center of the town. Heavy bomber. Okay, doing its job of bombing, but also we're getting reconnaissance. That's very good. Okay, okay, well. Okay, well, let's see. Let's do some reinforcing here. Well, no, first let's move some of these guys. Let's see, where do we want the artillery? Got a piece there, got a piece there. We don't have anything right down here for this northern push. Okay. Get those and you. Let's come back over more here. Go. No, 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 didn't want to do that. I want to get you to see where you go. Okay. Let's save this. Okay. And unfortunately, I don't think we're taking Paris today. Really sort of wanted to, but it's we're getting there, but it's just not going to happen today. That this is becoming a bit much of a traffic jam, but we'll get there soon. So I want to thank Folk, ZZ, Arno, Norbert, MNDB. Who else has been hanging out here? Oh, and Michael, if you're still around, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Tomorrow, hopefully, we will be doing some War Thunder. Maybe Arno will join us for War Thunder. Hopefully, he's feeling good enough to do that. So, hope to see you all then. I'm going to, well, do a few things around here, and then in about an hour and a half from now, go shooting. So, which will be fun. Haven't been in a little while. So, gonna go shooting and things. So, see you guys.